for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the 5/27/25 regular meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I don't have any comments tonight, so I'm just going to pass it along and keep us moving.
Okay, I've got a couple. First, I wanted to note that our district as a whole received an award of excellence from the National Federation of State High School Association for exemplary display of sportsmanship, ethics, and integrity for this school year as part of our athletic program. It is an award that we take seriously. We oftentimes don't always hear about the positive things. We sometimes hear about the negative. But it is nice to know that we are recognized for the vast majority of our folks, both coaches and kids, that are doing exactly what we would want them to do and make us all proud of having Homer written on the front of their uniform. So wanted to let you know that we received that. And then secondly, we have a group from the junior high school here today to talk about an experience they had recently called Enterprise America. And so I won't steal their thunder. What I'll do is introduce Mrs. Schneider, who will then introduce both the teachers and the students that are here tonight.
We have Jen Greenfield and Kim Butts here to talk about a wonderful opportunity that they brought our 8th graders. They went to some professional development and learned about Enterprise America. And they really took the lead on finding out information about the program, the pricing, working with me so that we could try to bring this to our students. But then they had to learn the curriculum, teach the curriculum to the students, and do a lot of work before they even left our campus. I had the pleasure of joining them on one of the days, and it was such a great experience for our kids, so I'm happy to introduce them. And we have Lydia Gross with us too, and other students on the way. We'll talk slow and see if they get here. All right. Lydia's coming.
I'm gonna buy her lunch.
I tried to get her to eat it.
It's her
Buy her
choice.
free lunch.
Whatever it may be, yes. I don't want to stand in front of the.
I know, like, where do we stand? Let's stand over. Okay. Alright, so we have kind of a running slideshow, some pictures, some quotations from some of the kids who attended after. So we're going to just talk a little bit about, so as Kara said, we learned about it at a social studies professional development, and someone came from WCNY and they were trying to sell it to us kind of, and we were like, let's do it. It sounded right up our alley.
Yeah. We like
So
activities.
it entails, basically at WCNY in Syracuse, they have a model city, and the day program entails financial literacy and civic readiness, and we thought that our kids would benefit greatly from this. So we decided to jump in, feet first, talk to Kara. We do thank Kara for helping us with the funding part. It was totally paid for all the kids to go through the arts and education funding that we have. And so it was great that there was no financial need from the families. So when we arrived at the day at the Model City, each kid had a job that Jen will talk about a little bit how we came to that. The goal of the day for them was in their business. They needed to build a successful business with their team members and hopefully pay off their business loan by the end of the time we were there, and also help the city become an interdependent community and learn about how important that was, and the ups, the downs, the stresses, the fun things, all of that coming in to play through the day.
So first of all, we needed 14 adults to go with us, they said. So that was really fun to try to find 14 people that wanted to give up their day twice, because we split our team. So we went AV on one day and we went AAA on another day, and we learned a lot in between. So the second day went a little smoother as we knew what we were doing. But as you can see, like they have a real voting machine, so the kids were encouraged to vote, and they got an I voted sticker and got practice doing that. And we started in the classroom by learning what responsible citizens do and talked about roles of that. And we sort of put it to them that you're going to have to do a little bit of pretend, which sometimes is hard when we're in the day of electronics. But you know, they really took it on, and I think they're the perfect age to do this with. We had a great day, and it was so fun to watch them. Like, they solved problems on their own that they had. They had to fill out job applications and then took a skills and interest assessment and figure out, do I want to work in finance, or am I a more manager? You know, where do I fit in these kind of jobs? They were placed in a company with usually about 3 other kids, so it was a group of 4. And they had to come up with laws that they wanted to add to the laws for the city. The laws they voted on within the class, they had a discussion and narrowed it down, and then we put it up to the whole group, and we had a vote. And they all dealt with being respectful to other people. My favorite, not abusing power, was one of their laws that my group passed forward, and then being an active participant. They also had to elect a judge and mayor, and our judge was pretty busy because we had a police officer and a police chief that would enforce the laws. There was a lot of community service handed out on the day that I went by our judge.
Either fines or community
Yes,
service.
lots of community service.
Like
He was very
tables.
generous in his, yes.
Like the tables
Lots
at
of
the
community
cafe.
service. They also learned how to fill out a check
Oh, yes.
and a deposit slip, and had to keep track of the money in their bank account using a checkbook ledger, which is sort of funny because I'm like, I don't like. Now we have a phone, right, that takes a picture of our check, and we don't really have a deposit slip. So Kim and I have great ideas. We decided that in retirement, maybe we can just run this program for them. Like, it's really, we had a great day. The kids had a great day, and these ladies are going to tell us a little bit about their jobs that they had. There were, what did we decide, how many different positions?
There's 13 different either businesses or city hall that they could work within. And so each kid has an individual role in one of those. So these 2 had a great day and were like super hard workers and really took on the role that they were given. And so we thought they would be perfect to talk about it. So Lydia, tell us where you worked and what you did and what you thought about it.
I worked at the delivery center, and I was the accountant and manager. So
Because someone was not here, right? So Lydia had to take on 2 roles because someone was absent.
It's
So
a big double, I'm sure.
yes.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from this, and it was really fun. Like, I got to work with my friends, and I learned how, like, every person really does affect the city, and, like, how every role is important, no matter how big or little. And it was fun learning, like, real-world stuff that I'm going to use in 2024.
I had to tell Lydia at one point, you have to go eat lunch. Like, you have to stop. She's like, I can't stop. There's so much. Because they really are, everyone that needed stuff had to come. They were Amazon. And so they had to come through Lydia's group. And so it was really fun. And we were thankful that she took on the responsibilities that she did. And Kate,
Tell us a little bit about where you were and what you took on.
I worked in a media company as a news reporter, and I learned a lot how much teamwork is, like how much it matters in a job, and how much work you actually can have in a job, and how many how so many people can be in one area and have everything like fall together like a puzzle to make everything go well and make the whole experience just a lot better. And I had a lot of fun with my coworkers.
And they had a radio station, and there was a person who was like the DJ, but Kate was writing the news. So she, like, some of the news was great.
she went online and found it.
You went online, she was writing about what was happening. There was some crime in the city, apparently. Did you get on the mic also and read the news?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So she took it on, and it was great to see, like, all the stories that she was just, like, coming up with. So they both did a great job in their particular roles. So, And did you guys want to add anything else? What did you like the best, maybe, about the day?
I liked working with my friends a lot and actually learning how like kind of stressful a job is at times and how you can succeed still. Yeah, I like the challenges it brought and it was fun learning about my friends and
I think the best part about it was they would have a problem. You're like, well, figure it out. Like, it's real world. It's like another adult would come up and be like, this is not working. Like, okay.
But we told the adults that each room had a chaperone, basically. We just said, your job is just to make sure everything is going smooth. Your job isn't to solve the problem. You're really not supposed to, like, really help them. So my daughter was actually in the radio station both days as a chaperone, and she was like, the kids would ask her something, she's like, I don't know. Figure it out. I was like, oh, jeez. I feel like I would have helped more. So it was kind of fun to just like let them take it over.
One of my favorite, I had asked another student to come, but it's her birthday, so I'll let her off the hook. But I wanted her to tell the story of you had the option to buy health insurance, and the wellness center sold health insurance. And if you did, then they would go around through the day and give you a sickness card, and you had to pay money if you had to go to the wellness center. It was like $6 if you didn't have health insurance, or $2 if you did. And so, or maybe 10. I can't remember. 10 or 2. That's what it was. So a student was absent and didn't get to sign up for health insurance the day before. So they were negotiating, and I think I have a picture of it in here. They're negotiating back and forth, and the wellness center decided they would split the difference and still let her sign up, but she had to pay $6 the first time because she was absent, and things
It was
happen.
definitely a little stress about
So, and they definitely had a lot of fun. They got to sell things. We had a lot of different jobs and roles and responsibilities. They asked if we can go back, so that's always good. Can we go back again this year? I said, well, I don't think so, but
So the day started out as a community meeting, and then when they went back to do their first planning, all the directors or managers, the mayor, the judge, all had to write a speech that they had to give to the whole group before the day really got rolling. That was telling them what we offer in each place and what the rules are, all that. And all those kids, I was like, wow. They didn't have a lot of time to write it, and they all were very much in this, in it to win it, I guess to say.
yeah.
We had, there was an automotive center. The cafe actually made popcorn, trail mix, juice, and everybody had to price their own items, and then they had to figure out, do we need to drop the price? Is it too expensive? If kids weren't coming around and buying items, the food that was popular. But,
And they got paid and had to cash their paycheck, and then they had cash to spend in the city. So they could then go around and do that. It's funny though; they were a little cheap. I feel like my kids are not that cheap.
There's nothing wrong with that, John.
I feel like if it was my money, they would not be cheap.
That's exactly why they were cheap.
Yeah.
This
they
was
were
their
all
own.
saving.
So we had to keep telling them to spend, and we gave adults money so they would spend things. And the day was just National Grid sponsors the utility center, so they're sitting there trying to figure it out. They had to go around and ask what kind of electricity do you want, solar or wind, or oil, coal, and then each business had to pay for it. They read meters through the day and had to figure out how much it would cost and send them a bill. The bank gave businesses loans to start their day, and they managed personal accounts. The bank is the most stressful job, I've decided, because it's really busy, and the system is think Oregon Trail system. That's
what
the
they're working with.
system they're working. It is so old.
One of the 2 days the computers
Yeah, it went
went down. And so the accountants in all the businesses they were getting bills from the delivery center, and the accountants are writing their check, had to pay their bills, and they're like, you can do it on the computer. It goes down. We're like, well, at least you learned how to write checks. The stress level was yeah, they all did a great job. So.
They definitely throughout the day just really were. Some of our toughest kids had the best day. Just super busy, and I'm like, this is what these kids need to do. We're gonna give them was great.
Yeah, it was great to see kids who you wouldn't normally see like rise to the occasion, like totally embrace everything and just had a fantastic day. Sat behind us on the bus was a bank teller. Was like, I think I want to be a bank teller. That was really great. That was hard, but I really like that. And, so that was the best part. Yeah, really. It was a fantastic day. We appreciate support for the funding and just the idea that it's something that we're going to try to continue. And Kara already sort of found out how much it's going to cost next year and has set aside that money for us. So we're looking forward to that again. And now that we know what it's like, we can even be better in our planning ahead as to what they're going to face and how we can prep them for it. So we appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Part of it, when you're students and you come and speak to the board, because this is a pretty intimidating group of folks, we'd like to recognize you with at least a certificate to say thank you for coming and sharing with us. So, Lydia, thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
That's it? All right, we're going to move to old business, and we have a policy for second reading that's before you. So we need a motion to approve or accept the following policy for a second reading for final adoption. Questions or comments?
Who's responsible for making sure the staff knows about this something?
I am. Yep. I'll work with it. I'll work. Well, what's that?
You're gonna send out a mass email to everybody?
We'll communicate through different building channels, but we find email might not be the best way. We want to do it when we got them in person.
Additional questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the report from the Committee on Preschool Education, Special Education.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Need a motion to approve the report from the Committee on Special Education.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the disposal of items from the intermediate school.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the donation in the amount of $120 from Farm Credit East.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the bus lease resolution.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the 2025 internal audit and corrective action plan. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the 2025-26 board meeting schedule.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve the environmental club trip to Hawaii from July 11, or in July 11 to 17 of 2026. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. to approve the Rotary Exchange student for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Motion to approve personnel as recommended by Superintendent Turk.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Just giving folks a heads up, I'm going to abstain because I have children in the summer work list. That's the only reason I'm abstaining. So I don't want you to think like disgruntled about anything. It's being appropriate.
We know you.
Well, that's okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions.
Real quick, I'd just like to introduce Kelly Garback. Just approved her as our new Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction. It's not too often that you get to lead the process to hire your successor, in the role that I play. But I will tell you this, we've hired better. She comes with a depth of experience. I think she's going to do great. She's the definition of servant leader, a leader of leaders, and we're happy to have her here at Homer. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
We'll turn to informational items.
Yes, we will. I do want to note Kelly is dressed appropriately, nice blue. I commented on that. Just one informational item. That's a fundraising update. Our FFA will be gathering some items that they'll use for the silent auction.
Very good. Brings us to our time of community voices. Anybody wishing to be heard? And then we'll move to board committee reports, and I know the audit committee met. Any report from them that we need to?
We met at 5:30, and we met with the auditor who shared the report that was in the packet, and some of the action items. I don't know if either of Casey or Stacy, if you wanted to add anything. Okay.
It was good.
Always, I mean, we take it for granted here, but it's always outstanding, and that it takes a lot of work and dedication by Mike and his group in order to pull that off every year, along with everyone else that comes into contact with that kind of thing. But it's not a small feat to get great reports like that.
The first audit, and a credit to the buildings and to our extra class treasurer. The first time in 13 years we've not been cited for anything for extra class on an audit,
Which is low hanging fruit for them. And so that they couldn't find anything was pretty good. So, yeah.
And they did give some recommendations, which I will share with Matt Priest, and Jeff's here, so I can hear them as well. That they talked about. They usually do some more finite testing in certain areas. One of the areas they brought up that was not of a financial look, but I think something that would behoove the district. They talked about doing an audit of concussion protocols in the district. That's something new that they've been doing. It's something that they would be willing to do for the district in our areas. They shared about 16 other areas to test, but that was something that was new and different. And I think just with the amount of concussions in today's day and age, I think something looking at how we're doing that within the district may be a good look for us, or something to take a look at. And there are other things on there like fuel pump usage and different exciting things like that as well. But and I'll share with Jeff and with Matt the different ideas that they have for the district.
All right, and I think we have the district committee report, the safety committee.
Yes. Just briefly, we had actually met in person this time. It was our first non-virtual meeting, I think, since COVID. We had a capital project update as far as it related to safety in the district. We talked about countywide radios. Every administrator in every building, as well as our area directors, now have a countywide radio. What that means is that we have the ability to communicate not only with each other in the buildings, but with countywide public safety, with fire, with police. We actually have these radios in all of our buses, so we can listen to bus chatter during the day as well. One of the nice features of the radio, they have a emergency button that can be pressed, and once that button is pressed, anything that stays active for 10 seconds, so you can get an emergency call out countywide. So it's something that we've been working as a safety committee to put those in place and be able to use throughout the district. So I'm glad to report that those have become a reality and they are being used currently by district staff. So any questions on the radios themselves? We talked about Navigate Prepared, which was our safety app, and moving to a new safety app. We talked about standard response protocol. In every classroom and every room in the district, we have a response protocol, whether it be for lockdown, shelter in place, fire drills, which we practice during the year. And there is a card which would, even if there's a substitute in the room, would identify to the individual what the responsibility is to do during that time. New York State has gone to more of a standard response protocol, and Mike Bonville, our safety officer, has been working with CNS on theirs, updating the protocol. And one of the nice features, it has a very user-friendly means to kind of dovetail with this protocol and these cards that we'll have and the training that we'll do with them for parents. So it'll explain to parents exactly when you get that parent square that we practice the lockdown drill, we practice the shelter in place. It'll be something that's very user-friendly to explain to those families what those really are and help them have those conversations, especially with our younger students, and when they're going through some of these drills. They may be difficult, or it just help to have them understand why they're doing them. Some of our newer business, we talked about the Safe School by Design Act. One of the new pieces that's accompanying building projects now is there are particular aspects of building projects that as they relate to student and community safety within the buildings. So that's something now that I shared with the group, that as the process goes on, as the district undertakes any new projects, that will be part of the planning by the architects, by the safety committee, and by the facilities committee within the district. So in the last piece of that, we talked about the room temperature policy that's gone out across the state. That's in effect September 1st. And looking at that, they've taken what was a fairly stringent policy about temperatures in classrooms and buildings and loosened it up greatly. So more information will be coming out to staff and to families about that policy prior to September 1. But that's something that we did talk about as well. So any questions on safety? Thank you.
Before I offer us for board member activities piece, I just should have mentioned way back in my comments, there was a request by a board member of an update on the capital project, and that'll come in the 24th meeting so that we can have all the information ready to go. So that'll be coming. You can look forward to that. That's your tease to come back the 24th. So with that, I would invite any school or board member activities.
I was able to go on as a chaperone up for my daughter's class up to the zoo, and I was fortunate to see in the one building there, I think it's like an art display of like ripped up cardboard of animals that had our students created, which was phenomenal to see actually represented up there, and it was actually fun seeing the little ones see that would actually recognize some of the names of whether it was brother or sister or something up there. They were so excited to see. They couldn't believe that artwork was there along with all the other animals and stuff. So that was like such a great thing to act. It was awesome to see how excited they were about seeing that, along with also all of their excitement about being up there at the zoo. So it was great actually seeing that and well represented that. It was a great display.
Last week I was over at the Intermediate Building for a talent show. There were 40 performances, and they were outstanding. And I think probably about 65 students from the program that participated in it. But what impressed me the most was the courage for these young performers to get up on stage in front of a full audience and perform. It was just about an hour and a half, and it was extremely enjoyable. I think the reason it went so smoothly, and I know, is there are 5 teachers that stage with the kids. And they did an outstanding job. I just want to cite their names. I was so impressed because everything was so smooth. I was like, how do you get 3rd, 4th, 5th graders to read like that? I thought Jackie Giamichael was one of them. Tell me if I pronounce the names correctly. Erica Withers, Naoma Streeter, am I right? That's not bad. Kelly Brown, and then Roxanne Grunt. I have to just talk for a second about Roxanne. The other 4 sort of just facilitated everything, made sure the kids were in order, all the things ready. She was the MC. And wow. The energy that she showed, the support for the kids, and talking to the audience, encouraging, reminding them, hey, it takes a lot of guts to come up here. And she was just outstanding as an MC. I just thought kids did great, but I thought these 5 faculty people have been like they were. And the only other thing is, I went to last board meeting, Tom mentioned about this, the Olympics, the city courtroom, and I went up to it, and it was exactly like he said. I was so impressed with the number of faculty, staff people that were there, the volunteers, the student volunteers. I mean, it was just so neat to watch. It's so nice to see those students get their moment, on stage. And it's nice to have SUNY Portland as a name. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's it.
I have a couple. The first thing is, it's not so much an activity, but I want to say, so my older son took a class here, Career Connections. That gave him an opportunity to actually intern in a field of interest, which is great because he doesn't know what he wants to do. So he was lucky enough to intern at our elementary school in the PE classes. He was working with pre-K and kindergarten, and he did it all year. So for him, it was amazing. It really enhanced his senior year, and I think he had so much fun. So if there's a way that we could get like that course offering out there to families, because I do think more kids would take advantage of. My understanding is you can intern with anyone willing to work with you to get that experience. It's like 150 hours you have to get for the half a year. So he decided to do it the full year, and so we did 300 hours down at the elementary school. He worked with Mr. Cotman, Mr. McBoy, and Mrs. Cook, and it was great. What was even special about that too is that they had the senior walk the other day, and there was a whole group of pre-K and kindergartners cheering on their gym teacher in his cap and gown. So it was a fun experience to have a little fan club too, and witnessing that part of it. And then also the Portland County Olympiad event we went to. I had a little guy participating in it. My older son volunteered at it. And it was great. Last year was great. This year was great. It's really special. What a fun day for everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the senior walk too. I attended the walk over at the elementary school, and just wanted to thank the district for doing that, and also for expanding it to the other schools. I heard a lot of really great feedback from teachers, young students. It was pretty well received.
The nice thing about that too, Casey, was that it was the kids' idea to expand it, and it was great to see that the adults worked with them to pull it off. And it really was pretty special.
I think it was well received by, a couple of the teachers that were here tonight presenting commented about it was nice to see the kids come back through and remember them when they were young.
I went to the CRT Summer Series is open down in New York on the lake, and I feel extremely grateful to be in a community that has appropriate entertainment for all levels. So if you've never been, it's a really intimate, nice theater, and maybe I think one day we'll see one of our own doing something there. So that's a really cool thing to offer.
I was at the state semifinals for girls flag football, which was here at our high school. I was doing the social media for the NISFA accounts, which